What is up guys, Morton here from SteamFirst.com with a review of 10 Second Ninja, a platformer developed by Game Design Dan and released March 5th, 2014 on Steam for $10. So, what type of game is 10 Second Ninja? Well, it's an incredibly fast-paced puzzle platformer. The story is, you are a ninja and you have to destroy Robot Hitler and his robot Nazis. And that's about it. There really isn't much to say as far as story goes. It's told entirely through cutscenes, and it's basically forgettable. The story doesn't even really need to exist. It's there to give you a reason to destroy the Nazi robots. But they're Nazis, and Nazis are always bad in every video game, movie, book, etc. anyways, so you really don't need a reason to destroy them. The only positive to the cutscenes is they're moderately funny. Don't expect to be laughing out loud, but you might grin during a couple of them. The story gets a 2 out of 5. It's nice that they tried to make some jokes, but it's pretty much pointless. That being said, nobody is playing 10 Second Ninja to hear a good story. There are plenty of RPG games for that. People play 10 Second Ninja for fast-paced platforming, which it's pretty good at. The controls are solid, good thing too, considering there are only 6 buttons. Move left, move right, jump, throw shuriken, sword attack, and reset. Of those, you'll be pressing reset more than anything else, by far. The objective of each stage is to kill all the Nazi robots in under 10 seconds. Sounds easy, right? Well, it kind of is. The actual gameplay really isn't very hard at all, and you probably won't have to play the same stage more than twice to clear it. The hard part of 10 Second Ninja is getting 3 stars on every stage. I said earlier this game was a puzzle platformer, and this is where the puzzle comes in. You get stars based on how quickly you clear the stage, and some stages need to be cleared in literally 2 seconds to get all 3 stars. It takes a fair amount of preparation to figure out the fastest way to clear some of the stages. Unfortunately, the majority of them are very straightforward. It can be really frustrating though, since we're talking about fractions of a second. You'll have to reset if you make any mistakes at all. And not much is more rage-inducing than being 1/100th of a second too slow. The game really isn't all that difficult though. You'll probably clear the stage on the first or second attempt, figure out the ideal route somewhere around the 5th attempt, and then make mistakes and reset for attempts 6 through 50 or so. The gameplay gets a 3.5 overall. It's very fast-paced, and if you make a mistake you simply reset and try again with no downtime at all. But it's very basic. You'll be using the same strategy for basically every single stage. The only other thing I can complain about is the hit detection in some spots. There are places you could stand on spikes and live, but other spots you die without touching anything. But they only occurred in a couple of stages, and were not really enough to impact the game in a negative way. It added a few extra resets, but in a game as fast-paced as this, where you're resetting so much anyways, it really wasn't very annoying. The graphics are nice. It's very minimalistic with nothing on the screen other than you, some Nazi robots, and maybe some spikes. This isn't bad though. Even though there's not much there, what is there looks good. The world all felt different as well, from a forest world to an ice world, and although it certainly wasn't beautiful or amazing, the style fit well. While the graphics were pretty though, the soundtrack could have used some variety. It was the same generic 20-second loop over the entire game, and the sound effects they used were quite generic as well. The graphics get a 3.5 while the sound gets a 2.5. It wasn't very distracting, but it was repetitive and uninspired. Repetitiveness kinda sums up the entire game though, because it's just all the same. Each world introduces a slightly new mechanic, such as portals, which every puzzle game seems to have nowadays, but it never really evolves past slash the robots close to you and throw shurikens at the ones far away. And it's incredibly short. If you aren't going for all 3 stars on every stage, you'll probably complete all the stages in around 20 minutes. That's kind of the problem with the whole idea. When the game is designed around being played very fast, there has to be a lot of stages. But there aren't. There's 4 worlds with 8 stages each, and since each stage has to be completed in less than 10 seconds, it means you could beat the game in under 5 minutes if you already knew what to do. I completed all 3 stars on every stage, and it only took me just over an hour. That being said, there is a leaderboard that shows the fastest times for each world, so if you really want to, you can continue playing and improving your times for the leaderboards. That's really the only replayability though, so if you aren't interested in continually playing the same 32 stages over and over, trying to save 1/10 of a second, you probably won't have any reason to ever play this game again once you finish it the first time. Replayability gets a 2.5. It's there if you're looking to compete for the fastest times, but it's just too repetitive for most people to want to do that. Overall, 10 Second Ninja gets a 2.5 out of 5. The game is fun and I enjoyed playing it, but it's just so short and offers no replayability to a lot of people, it's tough to really recommend it. If you're a fan of speedrunning and perfecting your gameplay so it's as flawless as possible, you'll probably enjoy playing every stage hundreds of times to get that perfect run. But if you aren't, then there's not much here. The first playthrough is enjoyable, and if you catch 10 Second Ninja on sale, it's probably worth a pickup. But for $10, it's hard to recommend a game that's only going to last you an hour and a half at most.